Okay, let's try. So can you reevaluate what life is for and what you want? I mean, that's what I'm trying to do. And when I'm teaching, I'm just teaching myself. So I think about this kind of stuff a lot. Like, where are you going? Where have you been? What do you want? Who are you? Stuff like that. Um, for example, the rest of today, what could be the best investment of your time today? What are you going to do? What could you do? You're
I'm
the
just
teacher
gonna
now. So
I'm just gonna go do Tai Chi and then maybe take a few steps
nice.
towards, I don't know, revealing myself.
Okay. Now, Tai Chi is nice dance, right? You slow down and you move in such a way where you calm down and you find benefit for your mind in that.
Yeah, I feel good.
Okay. Yes, I feel good. You said it. Write it down. Okay. Get the piece of paper and pen, please. So you chose to say, yes, I feel good, or yes, it works for me, whatever. You chose that specific thing against all other thoughts. All right. So now you need to find reasons to believe in yourself, good things that happen in your child, good talents that you have, intelligences, electrical work, different things. And you need to make a list. Write down on that piece of paper, please, reasons to believe in myself. Write down on the piece of paper, reasons to believe in myself. Okay. So you chose to say, I like doing the Tai Chi. It makes me feel good. All right. So that's something that works. Now, the more reasons you believe, the more references you have towards believing in the potential for you to calm down, for you to center your mind, for you to balance, the more you'll be able to do it. Practicing 10 seconds, saying 10 in your mind and doing hands-on breathing, sensing the nasal airflow, the benefits will be cumulative. So you said the rest of the day today, I'm just going to do the Tai Chi. Okay, good. Now let's look at what Tai Chi is, because all of these different systems of self-healing and enlightenment are very similar. In Tai Chi and Qigong and Chinese medicine, there's lots of good things that you can benefit from. Might not be for everybody, but for you, you have a liking towards it. So since you have a liking towards it, let's explore it. 3 powers, 3 treasures. Do you know what they are?
Yeah.
Okay, what are they?
Sky, body, and earth.
That's the 3 powers.
And then
okay.
3 treasures are intellect. Is it intellect or spirit, yen or something?
Sexual energy.
Sexual energy.
And digestive energy, magnetic energy, psychological refinement.
Okay.
Jing, Qi, Shen. It's kind of like the body is viewed as a tree in the sense that if you pour water, by calming your head down, the water will go down and will activate your hormonal strength. And that activates your dynamic digestive strength, which has magnetic quality to it. So your magnetism, your personal magnetism, physically measurable, ups. The heart has a 40-foot field of measurable magnetism. Every cell in the body has north and south pole of magnetism. Magnetic information is going across the skin of the cell and programming the RNA and the DNA. So the aura is a scientifically valid thing, and it has informational magnetism in it. All right. So Jing is like when you get rooted. That's the 3 treasures now. That becomes Qi, which is like magnetic energy, manifests in the digestion. And then Shen is moving that energy. You're utilizing your refreshment to refine your psychology. Shen, strictly speaking, is spirit. It means that when your brain is super coherent, you have an ethereal quality about you. All right, so that's 3 powers, 3 treasures. When you do Tai Chi, you connect with the 3 powers. And you learn to feel more magnetic in your body. That's the 3 treasures. So the 3 treasures build in direct relationship to your connection to the 3 powers. But how can you connect to the flowers or the sky or the earth or a tree or an animal if you're in mental obsession? You can't. So your biological biography has all of these memories and places that are stuck in fearful clinging or mental obsession, and they manifest in physical locations. So if you can feel your body well enough, you could start to unbound your presence. Now, if you go alone in a park, No problem to unbound your awareness. As soon as you see somebody, you might be afraid, or you might think that you have to overpower them, but they're part of the three powers. Tian, Ren, Du. Sky, person, earth. Person is the divine aspect of the person. Tian is sky. Ren, Di. Di is a statement of, are you on the chi? Are you on the energy? The chi. Now, if you are unbounded in a park or you're unbounded while there's people around you, there's always people in your head or in the air, you know. If you can have contentment with everything as it is, then you're going to start to draw off of the ocean and the stars and the tree. If these flowers are underneath your nose and you benefit from them, then there's some nourishment that happens. If you can't see them, there's no nourishment. So in the same way, the trees and the animals and the oceans and the earth, it's all trying to nourish you. But you're a bit busy with mental obsession and fearful clinging. So that's the philosophy, Qigong, and Chinese medicine. Scientifically, it simply means that you can improve your biomagnetic coherence. And you can move your attention and activate different parts of your body. If you focus on your hand, magnetic energy builds in your hand. You can change your skin temperature. You can do all kinds of things. You can change your brain waves. You can change your hormones, breathing pattern, pulse. So if you want a system of enlightenment, look at the scientific values, and it all leads to behavior change. Unless you have a problem, you can't have a solution. So if you have a problem, then you have to change your mind about that problem and have an apology towards having done it wrong, not being competent, and change your behavior. Change behavior is the only apology. Do you need apology? Is there any place for shame and guilt? Of course there is. To have a Pollyanna attitude, like people talk about, that, you know, shame and guilt has no place, and, you know, I'm not sorry for anything. That's all ego. When your bubbles burst and you ground, there's plenty of stuff that you're not good enough at and you don't understand. I mean, after all, you are aging, aren't you?
Mm.
So you can't control that. So when you relax and ground, time expands. It's the fear of being permeable, being revealed, that won't allow time to expand. You have to keep on keeping everyone under some kind of control, keeping life out. Subject-object perception, scientific analysis of the outside, because apparently that's what's causing all the problems. No, it's not. It's the inside. You're keeping life out by keeping others out and by building subject-object perception only. Intuition is more important than intelligence. So you have to quiet your mind. To quiet your mind, you have to be loved. So how are you going to be loved? You've got some video, you've got some teaching, you got some friend, maybe a girlfriend. All right. Nature, okay. Everything becomes a worship. Meaning you can remember the sky and the earth when you're cleaning up in the work. Tens. You say 10, you do 3 a day, 20 years. And you practice the master skill, it's the art of centering. Measure your results. Did I change my breathing pattern? Did my emotions change? Did my thoughts clear? Did the air clear? Is my body more relaxed? No solution. I don't have any solution. I'm only in process like you are.
So is when fearful clinging unbalanced, is that when the yi is on the shen?
When it unbounds, when the yi
Yeah.
is on the shen, that's exactly right. Good learning. So yi is intention or attention. in this system of Chinese medicine. It's all just common sense, but this is the real inner teachings of the Shaolin Temple, of the Wudang Temple, the real chi power stuff, not the fantasy world. You can hardly find it on the internet. It's almost impossible. Unless you have somebody to help, maybe you won't find any real teachings, but you have them here in terms of me guiding you to the real scriptural instructions for this kind of stuff. So in this system of enlightenment, which again can all be talked about scientifically and naturally, your attention is either on attitude, which is a word for spirit, or it's on energy. When it's on energy, that means you're constantly strategizing for gain, avoiding life, because you're seeking an external solution for a personal problem. Rather than centering yourself in yourself and resolving your issues, you're trying to find a cookie and a whatever as the way to make it forward in life. So everything is a squeeze of energy. There's an overflow of energy, and there's constant thought. That
Yeah,
being that. You feel like that a lot?
Yeah. I keep looking for nourishment outside.
Yeah. Don't we all?
Because I feel like that's the only way I can.
Yogurt, that's my new thing. Homemade yogurt. Oh my God. Do yourself a favor and see if you can get $20 to get a used yogurt maker from the net, or $30. I don't know. Or just make it some other way. No, I think you need a yogurt maker. It's so good. One. You got a yogurt maker?
I think so, yeah. It's one of the features.
Oh my God. It's so good.
Really?
Oh my God. It's so good. Your whole digestion clears up and cleans up when you have more than one culture. You have to have live cultures, like 4 or 5 live cultures. Cool. And you follow the directions, make sure you do the research, because I research everything sideways, up and down. And I still failed when I made a big batch of it. But I tried to do it in the oven and it just couldn't work. I have some on the stove right now. It's not working. But I have 8 jars in the yogurt maker, and that's going to be perfect again. But cool. I want to do bulk now. It's so good. It's so healthy. It really, there's a whole science about the neurons are actually in the gut, and that our guts are a bit taxed with the way that we eat and things. So if you could just enjoy a little gut health. In the systems of Qigong, the idea of the sky, looking at the sky, the stars coming down, kind of like stargazing, that's a particular vibe, just like the flowers is a particular vibe. Everything is a feeling. The earth underneath, the soil in your hand, that's a feeling. Either you can have sensory orientation to your environment, or you can be lost in your head. If you lose connection with nature, you lose connection in reality. But nature's in a closed room as well. Anyhow, the sky comes down, the earth comes up, and then it's in the guts that power is developed, chi power, magnetic energy, which is vital for health. Now there's 6 layers of muscle and fat in the belly. Muscle carries a positive charge, and fat carries negative charge. So it's literally a bio battery. It's the bio battery of your body. And the hormones of your sexuality is what activates stuff, and the bones is the deep storage. So you've got to relax so much that you reach the bones, that you reach your nerves. You can't be so afraid of people in life that you're constantly squirming to keep it out. Stop it. Just surrender to it. It's going to be uncomfortable. Life is uncomfortable. You're comfortable with being uncomfortable. Get comfortable with boring. If you do a job and you just do the boring, look how much nicer things are. You mind your manners, you behave a little bit, now you're going to have your own place in a minute. Boring results in the ultimate excitement. No skill is ever developed without endless boring repetition. So if you can't do boring, then you can't develop skill. All I want you to do is practice 10 seconds 3 times a day for the rest of your life. And in each of those 10 seconds, see how much you can center your mind. Because one moment can change anything, right? People's destinies are transformed in moments of experience, aren't they? So why don't you practice having a synchronicity independent of circumstance? Choosing personal coherence, because that's the luck factor in life. That's independent of circumstance. You try to control circumstance, try to control people, you never get anywhere. But if you surrender and let it all in, you could gather more insight and energy because you're quiet. Then when you act, it'll be more effective. Whether it's a negative grounding act, and everybody needs a lot of grounding, or it's neutrality, or it's an animation. Hey, do the yogurt maker at your house. Make that a thing you do. Yes, thank you, Will. I will do it. You know what I mean? Accept specific direction from whoever you choose. Because without that trust, you can't really learn much. It's like a computer trying to process separate from the net. You can't do it. You're limiting your intelligence. Keep the world out and under control and people, that means you're keeping life out. So you blend.
I don't know what grounding is. And I can't tell, like, if I need grounding, I mean, I do need grounding, but other people need grounding. So like, how am I gonna facilitate other people's grounding if I don't even know if I'm grounded or not?
Well, other people are experienced inside your mind and body. They're not experienced over there somewhere. So that means your grounding, your presence, who you are, is the influence to other people. And it's always going to be challenged.
And it's like, remember how we had that conversation where it's like, I could feel my body and my face, and I've been holding on to that now, because before I was like, I don't want anyone to see that, but now I'm like, all right, this is who I am, this is what I'm feeling. But then someone like, I feel someone else's, I'm like, no, where am I at? Where am I at? You know what I mean? Would
Well, you
that,
never get it right. I mean, you always get exposed for having been wrong all along in life.
so would I just have to
Repeatedly
surrender?
have.
Do I surrender
Go
to that
back.
vibe or my vibe?
Well, sometimes with discernment, you have to take action to fortify your own position. Because if you don't stand for something in life, you'll fall for anything. So that might be an action of boundary setting with others. But more importantly than that is the receptivity, and to allow what to occur as much as possible, less the issue of defending yourself, because void overcomes pulse. Space is bigger than form. Space is the perspective of forms, you know. There's lots of space and galaxies are destroyed and created. Silence is louder than sound and thoughts. If you really have silence in your mind, where's your brain? Your brain is in your body because it reflects. Is it not just the CPU part? Also, every thought changes hormones, breathing pattern, brain chemistry, blood pressure. You know, they say that brain chemistry and blood chemistry is kind of the way it is, you know. It's completely neophyte, low-level science. If you have every experience you have influences your hormones, breathing pattern, pulse, brain chemistry, body chemistry, everything. Every moment is changing. How subtly can you measure those changes? That's a very advanced matter, but you can measure changes of testosterone, for example. Two sports teams wins, one wins. I mean, sports teams play, pardon me. One wins and the other loses. The blood testosterone in the winning team is way higher than the losing team. Science. You have a great event, something great happens, somebody gives you a lot of money, for example. All of a sudden, brain chemistry, hormones, breathing pattern, or you get the check and you can go buy a dinner and you want to treat yourself to some Chinese food. All of a sudden, everything changes. So if you could learn to make those changes independent of circumstance, then the outside world will be experienced by you with greater resilience. So it always comes back to you defining in yourself what your response-ability is to the outside world. But ultimately, void overcomes pulse. So that means, you know, the receptive person is the one that'll gather the insight. Don't worry about action. Worry about your internal personal life. Then action will just fly. Geniuses don't think. Thinking happens because of drive of accepting what's in front of them. because the power of life is given by everybody and by the environment. So you have to fix the car. The power to fix the car is given in recognizing I want to fix the car. So you don't have to like preemptively be on top of everything. Life is given in this moment. And you'll learn over 1,000 years. I don't know how long. I don't understand completion or enlightenment. That's illogical to me. But there's an ascending and descending order of how to fix a transmission. So if you're receptive, you won't just go and take it apart and do it yourself. You might call a guy that knows about transmissions. If you want to know about physics, you're never going to understand as much as Einstein, period. So if you can accept that self-limiting reality, maybe you can then read some of Einstein's talks about what theory of relativity is. So there's the internet and there's the internet. When you become receptive to life, you tap into all sorts of intelligences and you respect them. And it can become physical, like books and people and classes and so forth for ongoing education. But it's this self-isolated ego that's trying to be separate, better than, different, special than others, that ruins everything, or worse than others even. You just have enough courage to be transparent. Because if you're transparent, then you have connectivity. Like if you're transparent right now, then that environment becomes felt on the inside. The map and the bubbles on the wall and the fire alarm and the paper, the table, the ceiling, the door, wherever the door is and how people might come in or out of that door. It all becomes part of your reality because that's where you are. But not if you're not transparent, not if you're in mental obsession or fearful clinging. You won't even know your environment. You have no connection to it.
I
So
get
therefore
stuck
you
on
miss
it.
out. Hmm?
I get stuck on things. Like if I feel like an emotion in my hand or something like that, it's like it's there and I don't know how to, get rid of it.
OCD much?
Okay, yeah, I got that with a lot of stuff. So like when I think about the environment or I want to think about things that are there, I feel like I'll just get stuck on it and I don't really make any progress in processing it. I just like
It's because it's not out there. It's in there.
yeah.
You want to grab the tree and suck the power out of it? Or do you want to accept the tree and receive the power of the tree? If you cut the tree down only, that tree's dead. If you appreciate the green leaves, the sap flowing inside the tree, the roots that lead to the magma, that lead to the solid metal ball on a planet that's spinning 1,000 miles an hour and hurling through space at 500,000 miles an hour, and the sun is dragging it in a wake of spirals, moving through galaxy towards the constellation Vega. Are you here now, or do you think that nature's over there? Is the tree over there really? Or is your experience of the tree in your biology?
I don't even know what the tree is. I just think about it. Like, what does it mean to feel the nourishment of a tree? I'd get stuck on that. It's just a tree.
Sounds
Tree.
like thought over feeling.
Yeah.
Feeling is above thought. When you're a caveman years ago in your genealogy, you just had a bunch of grunts and then language happened. Now we try to label everything. And in that labeling, we're absent from biological feeling, but only in our biological biography, which is right there where you are, can you actually understand reality in terms of acceptance. So now you can see stars, you can see trees, you can perceive them. Here, you have to have an inner awakening.
And that
so that
grows
you know where
all
you
that.
are.
And the feelings of those nourishment grow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't even know much about any of
A
the
pigeon
nourishment yet.
can fly. You put a pigeon in a box, close it off. You can take it 1,000 miles away from a specific location and it flies right back to location. How's that possible? A bear can smell 40 miles away and find the food. A beetle, if there's a fire 100 miles away, a beetle knows to travel over months and months and years to that fire because that'll be a breeding ground for their babies. So you have magnetite bearing tissue right there, same places they talk about the third eye. the largest concentration of magnetite bearing tissue, which senses magnetism scientifically, is located in front of your pituitary gland. You also have sphenoid bones in your nose. That senses magnetism. You have the same stuff that the bird navigates 1,000 miles from a box that's closed off. You have the same stuff in your body. It's also in your brain and spine, but the largest concentration is at the root of your nose. So there's a lot of things you can perceive if you have centeredness, balance. What I mean is that there's latent abilities. Everybody has some of this sensing ability. I mean, we talked about the heart having a 40-foot field of measurable magnetism. Now we know that magnetite bearing tissue is the largest concentration right there, and it's in your spine and brain. We also know they can put a computer cap on your head and read your thoughts. Science, 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 irrefutable. I don't do pseudoscience.
Wow.
Do the research. So if you have material that can sense magnetism, and every thought that you have puts out magnetism, how come you think that it's impossible for you to sense reality rather than think about it? Some things, are a bit much to grasp at, and it's maybe doesn't help you to understand about these kinds of things. But I want you to know that intuition is more important than intelligence. And there's a lot of abilities and a lot of frequencies of magnetism that animals see, we don't see, and hear, we don't hear, and smell, we don't smell, and sense that we don't sense. But we have the same mechanisms in our body, in our neurology, except they're dormant. Why? Excessive thought. It's all about emotion.
Yeah, that's what I was feeling.
So all of these
It's always
different vibes
emotions.
of life can make you become awake to your emotional feeling. All the universities say now that emotional intelligence is far more important than intellectual ability. EQ is over IQ. That's science. If a Sony wants to get a new CEO and they want to test the guy or gal, one of the most important tests they do in the highest level of government and the highest levels of business is now emotional intelligence tests. So we don't really have much emotional intelligence because we're not trained that way. You have to have training. Just like the 10 seconds can train you to change your brainwaves. Emotional intelligence training can help you to understand people.
Yeah, I
You've
think
got
that's
to
what I need
define
help
it.
with the most.
Marshall
I think that's-
Rosenberg is the master. Marshall Rosenberg. He has a thing called nonviolent communication. And he spent, 30 years or so mitigating between tribes that just killed each other, between Palestinians and Israelis that just killed each other, and all kinds of stuff like that. And I guess the main thing I remember from him, and I always go back to him, is he tells a story. And let me make a note and I'll send you some things there. He tells a story about how he went into this village and there was killings the night before, and then the people threw in hand grenades, and the hand grenades said "Made in USA," and he got in there and the people were yelling at him, calling him a baby killer. Let's see, Marshall. And then he said, I wasn't trying to define this guy that was yelling at me, baby killer. I was trying to understand what he was feeling. He said, the same guy that called me baby killer invited me to a Ramadan dinner that night at his house. So I talked. So, I mean, this is the coup de grace of enlightenment, emotional understanding of yourself and others. And each of these abilities, each of these thoughts, ideas, infinite potential, infinite ideas, infinite understandings. But you got to slow down. If you do a car and you're going on a mission and you go to the airport and you go to the airplane and you land in the vacation destination, now you might have waited 2 years for that. You're there for a week. Oh, profound relief. You really think you need to go over there to do that? Silence is mental antiseptic. It's got to become part of the human brain to forget. A very important part in psychology and psychiatry for mental health is the forgetting function. Listening to blessed silence is important. You can become anybody you want to become. There's one white light. You're sitting in the movie theater, the villain and the heroes on the screen. You identify with the villain, you identify with the hero. Why don't you go back to the white light and see where the movie came from? It means you've got to be courageous enough to sort through your biological biography by calming down and having enough support to do it. Because if you don't feel safe in your skin, you're not going to be able to center. The Tao says an interesting thing. Can you wait long enough until the stirred up pool of your muddy mind settles down and you can see clearly again?
But also all my emotions are everywhere.
They're over there or in there in there?
Well, they're in here, but I can, like, certain people kind of, I don't know. I don't understand.
Neither do I. Okay, we're in the same boat.
Like, I feel certain emotions with people, and I feel like, I don't know, maybe I can get help. Because I just want to, like, I don't want these certain emotions. I want to, like,
Well, you
clean
can
them out
never
and
get
move
help
on.
in the sense of completion delusion. Completion delusion means if I buy this product or I take this class or I get this help, then I'm going to be without suffering. That doesn't exist. That's called New Age Fruit Loopness or religious dissociativeness. Suffering's part of life. So you're not going to be free of afflictive emotions. You can, however, be more free of afflictive emotions. You can be more cleaned up. You can be more healed. And if you accept that, then we're going to go on a journey together of self-healing. But if you have to have completion, like, you buy this product from the commercial and then all of a sudden you got everything. It's all done. You're fixed. Everything's good. If that's what you're believing, then you're not an adult yet, because life doesn't run that way. The bigger the light, the more the mosquitoes. If you have a profound amount of intelligence and energy, you're going to deal with some shit flying around you. But if you have profound grounding as well, root grounding, what do you call it? Stability, feeling solid, then you can move and take with the wind, the winds. But the main thing is that everybody believes that there's no such reality as following or learning or being an apprentice or things like that. People want to be leaders. They don't want to be followers. But followership is the source of leadership. By listening to others, by honoring life, that's how you become a leader. But then it's just a duty. The first Navy SEAL said, people think it's all about leadership. It's not, it's about followership. So if you get next to Einstein, you better pick up the broom and sweep. If you get next to a real whatever super person, you have to accept, guidance and instruction. So this is kind of the main problem, is that we do it ourselves. So we're a computer separate from the net, and yet the solution is right here. It's in this environment. It's with these people in this place, in this time. So it's a bunch of miracle streams, these sounds and these sights and these scents and these thoughts. And if you can accept them all and go into deep meditation, stillness, silence, then you're going to be the most dynamic and the most responsive. But people can't calm down because they're afraid of personal exposure. That doesn't mean that you should be afraid of personal exposure and that you shouldn't calm down too. Because what you're doing here is you're leaving a legacy to the human genome. That's the only thing anybody's going to remember. That's who you are, not what you do. What you're putting out in the electromagnetic configurations of your brain and body. That's what the human genome is collating, remembering.
I sort of want to ask people what I'm putting out. 'Cause
What,
I don't see
ask
that.
yourself. Then you'll
Yeah, I
find
don't
out
see
you're
it.
putting out terrible stuff and you're putting out great stuff. So why don't you just take responsibility to where you're diseased, where you have distortion, where you have confusion, and be humble and be receptive to expert guidance. In every mental health system and every addiction place, it's all about denial. That's the main thing that makes people drive a car into a tree on purpose. It's because they just can't ask for help at the right time. They just can't tell the truth that they have an issue that needs to be monitored and managed. Denial. They want to be in control. So we're the same way. We're all seeking external solutions for personal problems, but in the long run, your brain will degrade as you age. You don't want that. You don't want to lose the mystery and the infinite energy of childhood. You actually want to cultivate it. And you can do that by breaking down one more place where inside your body mind there's a blockage, there's a confusion, there's a hang up, there's a obsession, there's a addiction, there's a compulsion, there's an eddy, water. When an eddy just swirls around, it's an eddy of negative emotion. You have to be the student, you can't be the teacher. That's how it rolls. That's why, masters are the most humble things. And they talk about themselves as being the worst and the biggest sinners like you do. I mean, you got to ask yourself, do super people exist? Does extraordinary intelligence exist? Well, of course it does. So if it does, what are you doing today? What are you learning? Because over time, you're going to be shaped by the environment you're living in, right? So what environment are you living in that? Do you have wise words going? Do you have contact with authentic master people? Do you even know that they exist? Most people don't even know they exist because 99% of the presentations are just completely false. They augment the ego. They sell you the illusion that just do this and everything's going to be great. If you become more healed, then you're going to have to deal with more suffering. Don't you understand? So when is suffering going to end? I don't know, but you can certainly have more pleasure in your mind and body by managing the issues in your tissues. So what's the new place like? 2 bedrooms. Hey, that's pretty
I
fun.
haven't even seen it yet.
Oh, where is it located? Is it okay area?
Yeah, great. It's
good.
downtown in the city. So I
Okay.
could get a bike and ride around everywhere if I want.
Okay. Wow. That's really great.
Yeah.
That's some good luck showering on you.
Yeah.
How's your practice going? What does it look like?
Well, I go to work and then I catch the bus and then maybe I play pickleball or I go
Oh,
right upstairs into the studio and do the qigong and then tai chi and then meditation and then tai chi the rest of the day.
okay. How does a meditation work for you? See, everybody has different things. Maybe somebody likes to take a walk. Maybe somebody likes to have a drink. Maybe somebody likes to read a book, watch a movie. I get it. It's okay. Everybody has their own methods. And you like these particular disciplines. In these particular disciplines, I want one thing to happen, and I would like the same thing for everybody, that you reach the place of profound and relief. That's what real meditation is, where there's measurable brainwave change, measurable pulse change, measurable hormone change, things like this. So when you go into this thing called meditation, what happens for you?
Well, it takes about 5 minutes for me just to stop telling, like, I don't know, calm down a little bit and then start focusing on my breathing and trying to find the light through my eyelid. And then I like to focus on my spine and try to find my spine with the rolling up the spine.
Oh, good, good. Okay.
And then once in a while, I'm like, oh, that was a good brief moment in time. That felt good. And then I kind of just go through it again.
Good. Rule of the game is you're going to have long rhythms. So you start over again and you lengthen the breath more, you lengthen the pulse more, you rest more. Just like if you have a great night's rest, you wake up, it's a new world, everybody's in a better mood. Most
There's a
people
lot of
do not
emotions
sleep
too.
well. In the meditation, how's that go?
No, I think that emotions are what blocks me from calming down. Cause I'm just like, I don't know, crying or something.
Okay. So
That's
that's like the first step where your
like I
emotional
can't find,
expression.
I can't get nourishment enough to calm down, feel my body. And
Right,
it's frustrating.
right. That's why you've got to reach out and have great contact, right?
Yeah.
You got to have
Yeah.
something that's strong enough, wise enough, loving enough to actually embrace you, who you are right now, unconditionally, like the sun and the rain does for everybody. So there are people of extraordinary ability and intelligence that can do that for you, and you're learning about them. Videos off.
Good.
Na, 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 na. Just lengthen your breath now and find a way to slow down. I'm finding a clip here. Longer breath, heavier body, like going to sleep. Longer breath, longer breath. Pardon me. Slower, longer. When you go to sleep, you have a long inhale and a quick exhale. Do that. It's called the going to sleep breath. Remember, you might think there's nothing to capture my attention. There's nothing to slow me down. Right? Is that often a problem?
Yeah. I don't know what it is. I feel sad or I don't know what I feel. I don't know what I feel. I'm just, ugh.
If there was
I try to-
something that captured your attention, would that be interesting?
Yeah.
All right. Well, look on your screen and look what's
Like
going on.
going to see Amma. That would be great. Going to
Right.
see Amma.
Well, you don't have that choice right now.
Nope.
So listen to this. Pay attention.
Your mind's filling up again. Missing out on everything that's going on.
There's nothing going on.
How long can you make your breath?
There's never nothing going on.
The idea is that there is a lot going on right now to capture your attention. If in fact you can take out the trash.
There's never nothing going on. If you're looking with a clear mind, start with the past, Dan. Understand something. There's nothing you can do to change it. The past is completely out of your control. You're up in the rings and you think to yourself, last time I didn't do so good. The past now has all your attention and concentration. So throw it out. The same in the future. Gee, I really hope I ace my dismount. I really hope Joy and I get together. The future now has your concentration. You see? So throw it out. Take out the trash, Dan. The trash is anything that is keeping you from the only thing that matters. This moment. Here and now. And when you truly are in the here and now, you'll be amazed at what you can do. How well you can do it. We go front center.
The idea of just being present right now is pretty interesting because all of the people in your life and all of the circumstances are like a bunch of miracle ingredients that cause you to get behind the scenes of environment. There's always a mystery functioning if you're not caught in too much polarity, too much attraction and repulsion. If you could just be still, maybe for 10 seconds, a lot of possibilities happen. So the instruction is clear. Just slow down. Slow down more. Does that sound okay?
Yeah.
Longer breath, heavier body, like going to sleep. Now look at your screen again.
You ain't gonna believe this. We used to fit right here. I'd hold you up to say to you, this kid's gonna be the best kid in the world. This kid's gonna be somebody better than anybody ever knew. And you grew up good and wonderful. It was great just watching you every day was like a privilege. Then the time come for you to be your own man and take on the world, and you did. But somewhere along the line, you changed. You stopped being you. You let people stick a finger in your face and tell you you're no good. And when things got hard, you started looking for something to blame, like a big shadow. Let me tell you something you already know. The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a very mean and nasty place, and I don't care how tough you are, it will beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. You, me, or nobody is gonna hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. Now, if you know what you're worth, now go out and get what you're worth. But you got to be willing to take the hits and not pointing fingers saying you ain't where you want to be because of him or her or anybody. Cowards do that, and that ain't you. You're better than that. I'm always going to love you no matter what. No matter what happens. You're my son, you're my blood. You're the best thing in my life. But until you start believing in yourself, you ain't gonna have a life. Don't forget to visit your mother.
Okay. Video's on. What do you think?
It was good.
Good. 3 10s a day and then 1 5 minutes a day. What are the 3 steps for the 5 minutes?
Step one is just having problems and things that are all muddy and letting it be there, and then slowing down and centering. And then
Step 2.
trying to find, yeah, step 2 is the centering,
Okay.
and then trying to find darshan.
Okay, and what's darshan?
The energy of a master.
Yeah, and they exist, right? It could be a Plato or a Socrates or just something, just like that video was impactful and the other clip was nice. And take time to be a student instead of always trying to be in control. All right, I'll see you on the 29th at 10:30. Is that good?
Yeah. 29, 12:30 for me. Okay.
Oh, pardon me. Yeah, 12:30 for you. All right, send me email about anything and I hope things keep moving along. All right.
Okay. Yeah.
Call me if you need something.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you.